right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, fellow Pandemonium travelers, this is Seattle Pandemonium Shutdown Day 154 by my count. It's Friday. It's freaking Friday. Friday. Gotta get down on Friday. Remember? So what's going down today? So New York Times finally covered what I would call the reality on the ground in Seattle, on Capitol Hill, in the wake of the CHOP abomination. So, talking to small business owners who had their shops in the Chaz, the CHOP, and the reality of what it was like having basically having to enter a foreign country every day to go to work and allegedly be extorted by armed people. Yeah, not pleasant, not good stuff. And what's funny to me is that the one guy even said, or they said in the article, that some of these local businesses, the business owners rather, they feel like the fallout from the CHOP is being co-opted by conservatives and Republicans, I assume they mean by extension. Which is funny because it's like, yeah, they're not co-opting it. They have an explanation for why it didn't work and why it's a bad idea and why some of these other things are also bad ideas, right? So defund the police and all that stuff is getting pushback from what I want to call normal people. And when I say normal people, I think I've said this before. I'm sure someone will be mad that I said normal. Like, who are the abnormal people? I don't know, you. Like, the people who can't just, who are hung up about all of this stuff. Like, you're a radical minority of people. Now, you can enact change with your violence and all this stuff and the destruction of property and everything else and all these antics. But normal people look at you and just think you should be on the corner selling pencils from a cup, okay? Like, you're weird. Other people are just thinking about their business and their jobs and their kids and their 401k and how they need to get an oil change. Hey, do I need to get an oil change? Not just yet, I don't think. Maybe I do. And so this return to normalcy that everyone is kind of hoping for, these protesters and stuff keep disrupting that because it helps them gain more power. And at the moment, you have people in our own city council who, while they won't vote on a bill to actually defund the police, or they won't pass it rather, they will allow, like Sawant will allow people to go inside the city hall at night and take it over. It's just obnoxious. I don't know if I had a point with all this. Did I have a point? I guess the point is that the Chaz isn't being co-opted by conservatives. It was a shit show. You don't have to be conservative or Republican or something to figure that out. Like, people were killed in there. It's just, yeah, I know, the police kill people too, yada, yada, yada. Well, this isn't better, right? This is the same thing, right? Anyways, so what else is going on? It's not all doom and gloom, though. 2020 delivered us a gem of a story. Naked man chases boar that stole his laptop. I kid you not. You gotta see the picture. I'll link to the story and the picture. So it's in Germany. I think it's a nudist colony, or at least this guy is a nudist. So he's nude in this like park kind of thing, and a wild boar stole a bag that had his laptop in it, and it's running away with the bag in its mouth. And it had the laptop in the bag. So there's a naked guy chasing a boar through a park. It's one of those 2020 in pictures. Just a few images that kind of define 2020. Just wonderful. It's not all bad. It's often mostly just bad news. Like I find out that Mrs. Style gets hired at a new job. Good news. Later the same day, find out that I might have been exposed to COVID. Might have to shut our whole building down. Wonderful. See, just back and forth. 2020 just can't let me have anything. I can't have anything in one day, but I guess I get naked man chases wild boar through park after it stole his laptop. That's what I get. That's the good news for today, which means another city is going to explode or some terrible, awful thing. You know I'm right. So what else is going on? We have to deal with, apparently, we're still being told that we're going to do a mail-in election. Now, on the one hand, the pandemic is going to scare voters away from the polls. That is true. On the other hand, people have been going to the grocery store wearing masks and washing their hands for 6 months now. So I think we could manage to do polls, do polling locations. Voter fraud. Now, this is a thing where people are saying that there's like nothing, quote unquote, nothing wrong with the mail-in election. And we already have problems. People have had like ballots delivered to their house for people who don't live there. People who didn't request a ballot are receiving them. Didn't somebody had one delivered with their cat's name on it? And then you had in New York, it was I think the New York State election, they ruled that like 25% or something of these ballots were deemed illegible to be counted. Like they just didn't count them. They're not legitimate. Well, how do you know it's just that many? How do you know it's not all of them? How do you know it's not half of them? Like, it's just bizarre. This mail-in election thing is not a very good idea. People having the option to mail in a ballot, I think, is reasonable, but it just makes me wonder about, like, states like Washington have mail-in ballots, and I just wonder if the voter fraud is just absolutely through the roof, because you could go through a neighborhood and steal a bunch of ballots, and if people don't know that the ballots were stolen, then they're not gonna, if they don't actively go to vote, they're not gonna know that someone already voted in their place, right? Or just stealing people's ballot, like just stealing them. And then people who don't actively care won't go, oh, let me open my ballot and I'll just randomly check stuff off even. Or I'll go, oh, all Democrat, Democrat. They're not going to do that and then drop it back in the mail, so you're gonna have voter suppression, right? It's just, the pandemic is being leveraged for political purposes, and it's quite irritating, to be quite honest, because it's allegedly this major public health, emergency, so much so that we like shut down the global economy and ruined everybody's lives. But our deaths are down. Fatalities are down. We have new cases, right? But you get more you do more testing, you get more cases. Yeah. Okay. It's it is what it is. But the pandemic is being used to justify not having debates because Joe Biden can't leave his basement because he might get sick. To not have presidential debates is what people are talking about, which on the one hand, I'm like, fine, whatever, it is kind of a waste of time. On the other hand, in this election, no. In this election, I want Joe Biden on stage debating Trump. No, they're not going to talk, they're probably not going to cover any real substantive issues in any depth. But what we are going to see is Joe Biden not being cognitively capable of being president, which I believe is what we've already seen with his disastrous media appearances. But we need to see it. It needs to be front and center and be the nail in the coffin, because the Democrats are not actually trying to win. If I'm listening to Tim Pool correctly, it sounds like they're not door knocking. They're not campaigning. Biden hasn't picked a VP yet. I mean, we're in early August. It's what, still the first week of August? What, September, October, and then it's what, November 3rd is our election day this year? Something like that? We're what, 10 weeks away and he hasn't picked a VP. Who is he going to pick? What, are they going to dust off Hillary and roll her out? That would be a disaster for sure. Mail-in ballots. But this is the problem with 2020, right? Look at California, the pandemic, right? Look at California. If you have a house party, we will shut off your power and water. Well, that's violating human rights, for one. It's violating a First Amendment right. And what, the Fourth, I guess? I don't know. You can't stop people from gathering wherever they want. Like, that's not to peacefully assemble. They're allowed to do that. But California is just a nightmare hellscape that Joe Rogan is fleeing from. I guess Joey Diaz is fleeing from. Everybody's just pulling the ripcord. They're out. And I can't blame them. Anywhere but Seattle is starting to look pretty good to me. But I don't know. Maybe that's all I got for you for Friday. Check out Naked Man Chasing Wild Boar. Just get his stolen laptop back. All right, that's enough from me for one day. Bye.